BTS news. The quiet studio was suddenly filled with soft laughter and tired sighs. It was late at night in Seoul, 2:17 a.m., but the room on the 5th floor of the HYB building was still brightly lit. Only 2 people remained, slouched on the long sofa as if time had no hold on them. The CCTV camera in the room was still recording, though few knew who was silently monitoring the screen in the control room. Jungkook sat with his head down, his left hand gripping a half-empty water bottle, while his other hand supported his head. He looked exhausted, but his eyes stayed open, glued to the laptop replaying the choreography video. Beside him, TAEHYUNG sat motionless, his eyes heavy, as if his mind was somewhere deeper than just fatigue from practice that a few minutes earlier, they had finished the final take of a new dance practice video, a secret duet project that hadn't yet been announced to the public. There were no staff members left, just the 2 of them, people who had known each other for over a decade. But tonight, something was different. "I don't know why I can't stop shaking." TAEHYUNG's voice broke the silence, soft, almost a whisper meant for only one person in the world. Jungkook slowly looked up. "TAEHYUNG, what's wrong?" he asked gently, though the concern in his tone was impossible to hide. There was no reply. TAEHYUNG lowered his gaze and bit his bottom lip. His breathing grew heavy, and one hand rubbed his chest like someone struggling to breathe. Jungkook immediately set his bottle aside and leaned closer, his face growing serious. "Hyung, look at me." But TAEHYUNG didn't respond. His fingers clutched the top of his training jacket. Then, slowly, he shifted his body, closing the distance between them, and in a split second of silence, without any warning, TAEHYUNG moved into Jungkook's lap. The studio froze. Jungkook didn't get a chance to speak. TAEHYUNG's arms wrapped around his neck, his head resting on Jungkook's shoulder. All that remained was the sound of their breathing. Quiet, echoing. "I don't know why I feel scared," TAEHYUNG murmured. Suddenly very, very scared. Jungkook closed his eyes. The exhaustion that had filled his chest was now replaced with something more complex. The desire to comfort, to protect, and at the same time, a quiet confusion he couldn't put into words. "Scared of what, Hyung?" he asked softly. "Everything. This album, the upcoming concert, Army's reactions, and my own feelings," TAEHYUNG replied, his voice barely audible. "Sometimes I feel like I'm losing control. I'm on stage, but my soul feels absent. Have you ever felt that?" Jungkook stayed silent. He didn't answer right away. Instead, his arms gently wrapped around TAEHYUNG. He knew that tonight wasn't about him. It was about the man he admired, his teammate and older brother, who usually shone so brightly, but now sat dimly in front of him. "I'm here, Hyung," he whispered. "If you feel lost, just hold on to me for now." At that moment, a single tear fell from the corner of TAEHYUNG's eye. There was no sobbing, just a solitary drop landing quietly on Jungkook's shoulder. Minutes passed. They stayed that way. Then, the studio door slowly creaked open. A HYB staff member, unsure of what to say, froze at the doorway. His eyes widened at the sight of TAEHYUNG sitting in Jungkook's lap, but Jungkook simply raised a hand, signaling for silence. The staff member nodded and quietly closed the door again, leaving them in a silence that required no explanation. By morning, the Korean media was in chaos. Someone had leaked a CCTV screenshot. In the image, TAEHYUNG was clearly seen sitting on Jungkook's lap, his head resting and hands clutched tightly around the BTS magne's back. There was no time for slow speculation. The hashtag #TAEHYUNG immediately began trending worldwide. HYB released no official statement. Fans were divided. Some wept with emotion, seeing it as a deeply intimate and emotional moment of support. Others questioned TAEHYUNG's mental health. What could have driven him to lean so heavily? Meanwhile, both TAEHYUNG and Jungkook remained silent on social media. Their Weverse and Instagram accounts were quiet. Even VLive, usually a source of comfort, was suddenly absent. 4 days later, Jungkook finally went live in a short broadcast. He sat alone, hair still damp from a shower, face tired but composed. "I know all of you saw the photo," he said, "and maybe you have a lot of questions. But what I can say is, we're all human." He paused, looking down for a moment before continuing. "There are moments when we're tired, scared, or just need someone to help us hold on. Hyung is one of the strongest people I know, but even strong people can feel fragile. So that night, I was just his friend. a place where he could feel safe. Silence. No background music. Just the faint sound of Jungkook's slightly trembling breath. Don't misinterpret it. Don't dirty that moment with strange speculations. We're okay, and we'll always be there for each other, for BTS, and for you. ARMY cried. Comments flooded the live chat. Thank you for speaking up, Jungkook. TAEHYUNG must be proud to have you. An hour later, TAEHYUNG's Instagram account posted a photo. No faces, just two hands, tightly holding each other across a studio desk. The caption was short. In silence, he listened. And because of that, I'm still alive. No further explanation was needed. The media tried to dig deeper. HYBE remained silent. But for the fans, the most important thing was this. TAEHYUNG smiled again during a virtual concert a week later, with Jungkook never far from his side. Even during rehearsals, not a single gesture. TAEHYUNG sitting on Jungkook's lap had opened a hidden door, one that revealed friendship, unseen fear, and love in its purest form, presence. And to the world, this was why BTS wasn't just a music group. They were a story about people who kept each other going. After the photo of the hands, the internet seemed to pause. No ARMY failed to understand what it meant. They knew it wasn't about romantic love as the media or sensation-driven fans might claim. It was about feeling. About TAEHYUNG leaning on someone he trusted, and Jungkook being that someone. But the days that followed were not without pressure. HYBE's top management called both of them into a closed meeting room on the 8th floor. That room was typically used for performance evaluations or emergency meetings. This time, the atmosphere was different. No manager spoke first. No production or comms leader. Just one senior HYBE executive who broke the silence coldly. You know the impact of that image. Jungkook and TAEHYUNG exchanged glances. They didn't answer right away, but tension filled the room. Sponsors are asking questions. Several countries in our tour plan are questioning the group's image. We're preparing simultaneous Asia and America tours. This is critical. TAEHYUNG lowered his head, not out of guilt, but because he understood that the outside world still couldn't fully accept his humanity. He opened his mouth to explain that it was a night of emotional exhaustion, not a scandal. But before he could speak, Jungkook cut in. If someone needs to be blamed, blame me. I held him that night. I told him to stay seated. I told him to breathe and not go home yet. All eyes turned to him. And if I could turn back time, I'd still do it all the same. Because that night wasn't about image. It was about saving a friend who was beginning to lose himself. Silence followed. The executive finally sighed and said, "Then prove that BTS is still stable. This tour will go on, but you two will be at the center of attention. Are you ready?" Without hesitation, both TAEHYUNG and Jungkook nodded together. The following week, it was announced that BTS would hold a virtual concert titled BTS, Closer Than Ever. Unlike previous shows, this one was set more intimately. A stage made to look like a large living room, warm lighting, and no physical audience. Just cameras and the voices of the members. But ARMY knew, this was no ordinary performance. This was a moment of truth. When the concert began, all the members appeared as usual. But something had changed in Jungkook and TAEHYUNG's interactions. They didn't try to cover up what had happened. Instead, they faced it head on.